Ron, welcome to Nonstop Rock Talk. It is really a pleasure to be speaking with you today. So how are you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, Tyson. Ron Keel reporting for duty. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to rock with you and your listeners.
Oh, fantastic. How are you making it with the whole, I'm assuming you're probably in isolation yourself?
I almost feel guilty because in so many ways, Tyson, I was prepared for this, both logistically, because I live in South Dakota, which has not been overly affected. I mean, we had the big meat processing plant for, I think there were 800 or 1,000 cases, and they shut the plant down. But yeah, I am isolated. I like it that way. I was able to get the Monsters of Rock cruise under my belt in February, which is always a great event. That was my 8th time on board the cruise, and to be a part of that Monsters of Rock cruise family is always a treat. And then I went straight from there to my first ever tour of Australia, which was another bucket list thing for me. I mean, it was the shows were great. The fans were awesome. It was my first time ever. The fans had waited 35 years, and so had I. And we made up for lost time with those great gigs in Australia. And then I came home, and I expected to be home during this time. Our first summer tour dates weren't scheduled until Memorial Day weekend. Of course, those have been, canceled, rescheduled, postponed. I don't know what you call it, but they're not happening, and I'm not sure when the next gigs are going to happen. Hopefully Sturgis, the bike rally is always big for us. But this was a time when I expected to be home, and as I mentioned at the top of this monologue, I was prepared for this, both the fact that my wife and I are pretty much self-contained. We've got stocks of food, ammo, whiskey, guitar strings. I mean, I got everything I need to survive Armageddon right here in my house anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, 3 years ago when she was diagnosed with cancer, that's a life changer. And I know you and probably a lot of your listeners know someone that have been affected by cancer. And when you get that diagnosis, everything changes, and it did for us that day. So my mission a couple of years back, this is 2017, automatically became taking care of her and being at her side through the chemotherapy, radiation treatments, 9 surgeries to get her cancer-free. And I knew at that time that I was not going to be able to tour extensively. We did a couple of gigs that year, pretty close to home. But I tried to figure out a way that I could entertain people from home, online. And I joined a platform called Patreon. And the page is patreon.com/Ron Keel. That's where we exchange and share exclusive content, audio, video, music, songs, unreleased tunes, full album downloads, concert videos from the 80s on through the present day, interaction with live online video chat. I even built a stage in my house where I could do house concerts and perform live online for the members at patreon.com/Ron Keel. So I've been doing that for a couple of years now. So the pandemic, I almost feel guilty. Like I said, I feel guilty saying that it hasn't really affected us that much. It's about to. Obviously, the summer dates are all up in the air, and I feel bad for the guys in my band. I miss my guys. I miss my crew. I miss the fans in the front row, slapping high fives and fist pumps with people in the front row. And I love to perform and entertain. I'm going to miss that this year. we'll see what happens. All of us are in the same boat together, and we hope that we can, whatever the new normal is, hopefully we can all adapt to it, especially the entertainment business, because it's hit us pretty hard.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, there's been talk of nothing this year, no shows. That's hard to take. I mean, even if this is over, and then to still have, to go back to semi-normal life, but not to be able to go out and see a concert, that affects a lot of people. A lot of people.
I know, and I just read a quote from Brian May online this morning when I was glancing at the news. Brian, we all feel the same way. How are you going to put 18,000 people in a building and play music for them?
Yeah.
I just don't know. I'm hoping for the best, and I'm ready. I'm ready to rock. I'd be on stage tomorrow if the opportunity arose. I just want the fans to be safe and healthy and enjoy the experience and survive the experience. So we'll do the best we can with it. In the meantime, it's great to have new music. The South X South Dakota album, which we just released, is, to me, it's a fantastic record. I'm really proud of it. And I think it's a perfect time to share these songs and this new music with all the people out there that are hungry for good classic rock and roll.
Yes, I agree. And I actually wanted, before we go to that album, I wanted to make mention, I did read your book, and I think it was a couple of years ago. I think it was probably 2 years ago I read it, and I couldn't put it down.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed it. I myself, and it's kind of funny because I am actually a writer for Sleaze Rocks as well, but a Canadian artist asked me to help write his biography. And just thinking back to your book as we were about to talk today, I was thinking about Steeler and Yngwie and everything. Well, there's a section in this artist's book, and we have a whole chapter about Yngwie, because his band that he was in, the band was called Slick Toxic. They were on Capitol Records up in Canada, and they actually did a whole tour with Yngwie. So we've got a whole chapter dedicated to Yngwie and the things that went on, and with Yngwie and his band's perception and his perception, because actually Yngwie was very nice to him on the tour, but I think some of the other band members in his band were kind of scared of him, like they're like, oh, don't do that, don't say that, like you're going to get us kicked off the tour kind of thing. So we've dedicated this whole chapter to Yngwie, which I think is going to be pretty cool. I think people are going to get a kick out of it because there's some funny analogies in there.
He gets a few pages in my book, and I tried to took the high road, as you know, because you've read my book, Ron Keel, Life on the Streets of Rock and Roll. I took the high road with all of my ex-wives, my ex-band members. I didn't throw anybody into the bus. I didn't talk any trash. I felt that was the approach for me to take. Of course, I threw the author under the bus pretty hard. I caught to all the adultery and the drugs or all the bad stuff that I'm not really proud of. I felt I should admit it and tell the truth. When it comes to slinging mud, the more you stomp in crap, the worse it smells.
Yeah.
And so I just decided not to go there.
Yeah, this chapter, we're actually not throwing Yngwie under the bus at all. It's just like, it's kind of hard to explain, and I don't want to explain it too much because I want people to, when it comes out, to read the book. It's just some funny analogies about him and some what-if scenarios and just some funny things that happened, But in no way does it, paint him really as a bad person, good person, whatever.
Yeah, well, anybody that throws Yngwie under the bus, I feel sorry for the bus, man.
Exactly. That's too funny. Anyways, let's talk about the album, South by South Dakota. Kind of give me a synopsis of the album title and why you decided to go with that title.
It just struck me. I have no idea where it came from, like a good idea does. Sometimes you keep your radar on as a creative person, whether it's musical or business or marketing or whatever. And I don't even know where the title came from. Just obviously, it's Southern rock. And I live in South Dakota.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a big stretch for me to really just come up with that title. And I did that after a few days in the studio as the album happened very organically. We were cutting last year's Fight Like a Band album, which is very personal, very close to my heart. Every song, every lyric, everything I did on that record was extremely personal in so many ways. And the people that have heard it know how and why. that record was such a personal expression for me. As we would warm up in the morning for the sessions, we'd start jamming. And I think the first song we did was Flirting with Disaster from Molly Hatchet. We just walked into it, played, had a good time. We're just loosening up, getting tones, warming up, and all that. And then at the end of the day, when we get done, when our brains are tired and we're spent from pouring our hearts and our voices and our hands into our original music, we have a couple of cocktails and launch into one of our other favorite Southern rock classics, 38 Special, Rockin' Into the Night. Let's do it. Click the sticks. Let's go. And after a few days of that, I realized that my producer, Mike Dresch, was recording those jams. And I said, play that back for me, man. Let's check it out. And I listened to what we had, and it felt like we had the foundation for something very special. And immediately I thought, man, there's an album here. I mean, if we do one song from each of these legendary Southern rock heroes, a Molly Hatchet song, a Blackfoot song, an Outlaw song, 38 Special song, Marshall Tucker, then Leonard Skinner, of course. We've got to get to that as well. I thought we had the makings of something very special, and I think right around then was when the title hit me over the side of the head like a 2x4 and said South by South Dakota. That's what this is. This is Southern rock music by a bunch of musicians in South Dakota. And from there, it kind of just, the avalanche gained steam as it built going downhill, and we decided, well, we're going to need an Allman Brothers song, right? You know, you can't have a Southern rock tribute album without an Allman Brothers track. So I played Ramblin' Man in my acoustic shows, probably butchered it a number of times in my own solo gig, but we never played it as a band. Yeah. And we listened to it a couple times, and just, let's get a shot, because we got to have an Allman Brothers song, right? And that's what you hear on South by South Dakota, that Ramblin' Man, which is a steaming version of that iconic Southern rock classic. That's a first take. That's just the drummer clicking the sticks. We launched into it, no stops, no fixes. And one thing I'm most proud of is the screw-ups. There's a couple of notes in there, if you listen closely, that I'm not sure if the Allman Brothers played them wrong, or we played them wrong, or both, but there's some where the guitars and the keyboards and the bass are all doing these runs up and down, intricate harmony licks. And it sounds to me like there's a couple of wrong notes in there, but I said, let's leave it. It's natural, it's organic, it's rock and roll, it's the way we played it, the way it was meant to be, and the whole record sounds to me like a bunch of guys in the studio having a great time and having fun playing the music we grew up on. And the fact is, now that I can get into the promotional phase and marketing the album and doing interviews like this one with you, it's really cool, very liberating that I can say, without a doubt, these are great songs. You know, I couldn't say that if I had written them all, because you got to be humble and you got to say, well, I did the best I could, and I hope the audience appreciates what we have. No way, dude. These songs are killer, and they're classics. They're part of the classic rock songbook and part of the fabric of our lives. And I can say that without prejudice because I didn't write any of them.
That's true. That's so true. And you mentioned Ramblin' Man, that you kind of did your best job on it, whatever. But I actually was going to mention that because your vocal delivery on that song, it really captured me. And it's interesting to me is your vocal range. It is vast, and it becomes believable on both sides of your music. No matter what you're playing, if I hear it and I hear what you're doing, there's something behind it that you really put a lot into it, and you can, you get the feel for the song. And I mean, of course.
Well, thanks for saying that. I appreciate that, and I'm glad you mentioned it. It's tough doing other people's material, especially songs that we've all heard before, songs that we all know and love, because you want to put your own tone to it. You want to make it your own, but you also want to honor the original version, and it's got to sound natural, but it's got to sound good. It's got to sound like I believe what I'm saying. That particular track is not lyrically a stretch for me because I'm just telling a true story, man. I was born a rambling man, trying to make a living and do it the best I can. And that's the lyric is absolutely true. It's my life story. My father was a gambler, a rambler, and he passed it on to me, and we're just telling that story over and over again.
Yeah.
So the vocal was very natural for me. I think it helped that I had sung a lot of these songs in the show, or in my solo acoustic gig, or out on the patio, or around the campfire. These songs are all very comfortable for me, and it felt like going home. So it wasn't like a stretch. Now, there was some material on the album that I had not sung before. The duet, for instance, Don't Misunderstand Me.
Yeah.
I had never sung that song before in any cover band or any type of situation, but it felt like a great choice for this record because a lot of people, first of all, it's one of those songs that's not like Sweet Home Alabama. It wasn't drilled into your head for the last 40 years.
So true.
But it is an iconic Southern rock classic because it's the signature song from the Rossington Collins band. Gary Rossington, Alan Collins, they put together this band after the Leonard Skinner plane crash, that tragic plane crash that killed Ronnie Van Zant. And this was the first taste we had back then of what was left of Skinner. So Southern rock fans ate it up, and it became a very special record in the history of Southern rock as a genre. And I felt it had a great place on the record. Plus, I love doing duets. I thought, if we can find the right girl to compliment me on this song. I went through a few choices because I have a lot of female vocalists that I admire that are friends of mine. But this girl, Jasmine Kane, we do a lot of gigs together. We do a lot of these bike events. It's a biker kind of band. I mean, we do the Lone Star Rally in Galveston, Texas with Jasmine. Did Daytona Bike Week down in Florida with Jazz. Then we did Sturgis last year. We're always a fixture at the Sturgis Rally. And I invited her up to sing it with us. We rehearsed it backstage, kind of handed her a lyric sheet, and she came on stage and just crushed it. And, of course, then my choice is made. This is the girl to sing this duet with me on the record, and she is South Dakota. I mean, Jazz Kane, she lives in Nashville now, and she's one of the Nashville Artists of the Year. She's received awards and a very accomplished singer, songwriter, musician, and artist in her own right. But she is South Dakota. She was born in Sturgis, South Dakota, during the motorcycle rally. It doesn't get more real than that, and she is South Dakota rock and roll. And to have her on the album would be a huge treat. And everybody seems to love that song as much as I do, so I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, it sounds great. It really does. It's funny. I was listening to the album this morning at my full-time gig, and I had on "Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys," and one of my coworkers is walking by. He's like, "Hey, that song." He's like, "That doesn't sound like Willie Nelson." I was like, "No, man, someone's doing a cover of it," and I think you guys did a great job of it. And it's funny because I grew up in my early teens being a total rocker, but of course, I'm watching Keel and all the other bands at that time. But before that, my introduction to music was through my dad, who was a huge 70s, 80s country guy. I mean, he made me watch Hee Haw every Saturday night. And then there's a Canadian country guy that was on Friday nights. And of course, the Dukes of Hazzard with Waylon Jennings and all that. So for me, those sort of songs really mean something to me. Where did you kind of come up with the idea to do that song?
Well, that's a great quote, by the way. Whoever your coworker who was walking by and said, "That don't sound like Willie." I got to use that, man, because it definitely doesn't sound like Willie. That's one of the songs that we took and keelized in a big way. I mean, the original version is very traditional, so to speak, with Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings doing that iconic Southern rock or country anthem.
Yeah,
it's Southern rock to me, but we've been doing it in the show for years. That's one of the songs that's in the show, and we'll open up if we're out on tour with Tesla or Night Range or one of these other bands. We usually open up with "The Right to Rock" because that's my signature hit song. That's one that everybody recognizes right off the bat.
Yeah.
So that's our half-hour, 45-minute opening set. We'll do "The Right to Rock," and then we'll launch right into the Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings classic, "Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys," because, as everybody knows, I am the metal cowboy now, and for years, that persona has kind of become, so it's like Vince Fournier and Alice Cooper. He's Alice, and I'm the metal cowboy, and I kind of like it that way, but that's my message to the audience is don't let your kids grow up to be like me. Teach them something else. This is not an easy path to follow, but it's the life that I chose. It's the life that chose me. And the song chose me as well. I've been doing it in a number of different ways through the years, but we put it in the show, 5 years ago when I put this band together, the Ron Keel band, originally the Badlands House band. Yeah. We put it in the show and beefed up the guitars and the big thunderous drums and, our own arrangement of it. So that's one of the songs on the record that has been severely Keelized. Yeah. There are some songs on the record like Flirting with Disaster, the 38 Special song, Rockin' Into the Night.
Yeah.
There's not much we could do with those, man. The original versions are so powerful.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone and try and do it justice. But with songs like Mamas and songs like Fire on the Mountain, we totally just unwrote them and rewrote them and kind of made them our own. I hope that the original songwriters aren't too upset with us. George McCorkle from the Marshall Tucker Band, who wrote Fire on the Mountain, Can't You See, and all those iconic classics for Marshall Tucker Band. He was a good friend of mine, and we co-wrote some songs together during my years in Nashville. In fact, George co-wrote the title track to our 2004 album, Bring It On. George McCorkle and I co-wrote that. And he would come out to the clubs in Nashville and sit in and jam with us on some of these old Marshall Tucker classics. Became a good friend of mine. Sweet dude. Passed away about 8 years ago. Cancer. Well, wonderful man and an amazing talent and a great songwriter. And I'd like to think that he's listening somewhere to our version of Fire on the Mountain. I think he would approve. We really brought it into the modern age with the big guitars and the hard rock arrangements of what was originally a pretty country style Southern rock tune. So I'm glad to kind of remake that with my own vision, and I hope the audience and I hope the guy who wrote it, Mr. George McCorkle, would approve.
That's an amazing story. That's really, sometimes you go one way with it, you try to stick to it, and then other times you're like, you know what, let's just kind of change this and modernize it and, Keelize it, as you said.
There's no real plan. Tyson, I tell you, it's not like I'm sitting here plotting out the playbook or anything. I'm just kind of making it up as I go along.
Yeah.
But that song was one where I felt that the band should do it. We did Ghost Riders in the Sky as our debut single back in 2015, and our version of that song, produced by Henry Paul from the Outlaws, appears on the South X South Dakota record. And I was looking for a song to follow that up with, basically. Well, we did Ghost Riders. Yeah. What are we going to do next? And I took it to the band. I said, I want to do this Marshall Tucker tune, Fire on the Mountain. And they listened to it. And to be honest with you, the guys in the band weren't too keen on it. I mean, it's because it's very, very, the original version, it's a country song originally.
Yeah.
And so I knew that they were not receptive to that idea. So one day at rehearsal, I thought I'd pull one over on them, and I said, I've got this idea. Give me an F sharp, give me 4 count on sticks, give me a big, powerful F sharp minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, ga. Now give me a D. Keep down, ga. It just almost felt like Black Sabbath. And the guy thought, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, for the verse, let's go to the one which is going to be A. All right, we'll go to the A for the verse. And we'll go to the A and then the 6 minor, which is F sharp minor for the verse, back and forth. And so they said, okay. They start playing it. Feels good, sounds good. But I started singing it. And it's Fire on the Mountain. And they all looked at me and they looked at each other and go, I know what he's doing to us now. Because I got them to play it without even knowing what song they were doing. I just said, now it's us. Now it's RKB. It's Ron Keel Band. Now we Keelized it. We put our stamp on it. And we love it. We've even opened the show with that one from time to time. It's very powerful. In its current incarnation and arrangement on the South by South Dakota record.
That's very cool. As I was looking, as I initially got the track listing, the very first song, Blackfoot's Train, and of course Warrant did that song on Cherry Pie years ago, but they didn't include the intro on that. And so when I heard it, and I was like, oh, they did the intro, because it was funny, like a few months ago, someone asked me out of the blue, they're like, do you know that song Train by Blackfoot? And I was like, yeah, that's a great tune. And he's like, let's put it on. And anyways, the guy made me play it like 5 times in a row. He just loved the song so much. So when I put on your version of it and heard that intro, and I was like, okay, that's the way it's supposed to be. Tell me your feelings on that song and why you included that one. Is there a story behind that song at all?
There's a couple of them. Ed, you know I'm full of stories, Tyson. I could talk your ear off all day long. But that song in particular, of course, there's a reason why it's the lead track and the first song on the record. And, I knew the Warrens had recorded the song.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've heard their version.
Right.
But the Blackfoot version is something that we all grew up loving, and that was the heavy side of Southern rock. That was the kind of band that could open up for some of the hard rock and heavy metal bands back in the 70s, and they fit right in.
Yeah.
Medlock, certainly one of my heroes. I love those Blackfoot records, but we are built upon that type of song. We've been doing that song, I think, probably since the very first rehearsal. When we get together and the guys in the band are really just meeting each other for the first time, I'm introducing the players. We're trying to all just jam and get a feel for each other. This is 5 years ago when we put the band together. And we just started jamming on songs like Train Train, Flirt with Disaster, songs that everybody knew. And it automatically became part of the show. And that harmonica intro is part of our show as well. We have actually a train as part of our stage set. I don't know if you've seen the photos or the posters or the live shows or the videos, but in front of the drum riser itself is the front of a train that lights up and blows smoke and the whole deal. Cool. So that train motif or theme has been a part of our identity for 5 years now. And I think it's a great way to introduce my hard rock / heavy metal fan to this new album, because they can hear that it's heavy. It's heavier than the original version. In fact, it's heavier than our last album, South by South Dakota. Even though it's a Southern rock covers album, it is the drum sound is bigger than anything I've had probably since the 80s. Yeah. The guitars are in your face. The vocals are, I'm singing my guts out on this record, and I think all that combined gives it a heavier feel. Now, we didn't intend on that. I didn't say, well, we got to make a heavy record, or we got to make a Southern record, or a country record. We just wanted to make a great record. It really doesn't matter to me what you call it, as long as I love it and I'm proud of it, and I think it's great. So that Train Train song ended up being the perfect way to intro this thing. It's got that long harmonica intro played by Derek Snow, local harp player who's absolutely one of the best in the business. And it's just a great way to set up the album. It's kind of like an intro for the live show. And hopefully when we get back out there and do some live shows, I just might open with it. But we haven't, I like that train effect I was talking about with the train that lights up, blow smoke, all that. I kind of like to save that for later in the show. I don't want to blow the whole blow on all the smoke and lights at the very first song, but it's a great opening tune for this record, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I was like, oh man, Train, that's awesome. And then I turned it on.
I got to check out the Warren version. Of course, I'm doing a lot of interviews every day.
Yeah.
Everybody's leading with that same type of question that you did. Well, Warren did the song, and now you've done the song. I got to listen to it, I guess, just to enjoy it and compare it. Janie was a good buddy of mine, and I'm a big Warren fan, both of the Janie Lane era and the Robert Mason era. So, it's cool. I mean, songs like Ghost Riders has been covered 50 times.
Wow.
So it was cool. I mean, we covered it ourselves, but we also had Henry Paul from the Outlaws come to Sioux Falls and produce that session for us. He spent 3 days in the studio helping us keyize a song that he sung more than anybody alive. I mean, nobody has sung Ghost Riders in the Sky more than Henry Paul from the Outlaws. So to have him be a part of that session, and for me to be able to sing the song to him and have him be proud of it and happy with it was a huge accomplishment. Certainly very proud of that track as well.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, mentioning Warrant and Train, they also did a cover on their last album of Merle Haggard's song, I Think I'll Just Stay Here and Drink.
No, I have heard that. Yeah, I've heard that. I played that on my radio show.
And
I love that. And
I do too.
Of course, I'm gonna be the one who catches a bunch of crap about it because I'm doing covers. But yeah, everybody's dying, man. Yeah. It's not. I don't know why it's so frowned upon when a band takes a song from another style and makes it their own. I did that with Because the Night.
Right,
On
that's right.
the Final Frontier album 34 years ago. We took Because the Night, a Patti Smith song that was co-written by Bruce Springsteen, but we made it one of the foundation rock anthems of the 80s. It is still part of our show to this day, but it wasn't a metal tune, and it was written by Patti Smith and Bruce Springsteen, and we covered it, and we made it our own, we keelized it, and it's good. People love it, and people, man, the audience, they all sing along every time we play it. So I don't know why we have to be so prejudiced when it comes to hard rock artists or even country artists. Country artists will cover a Motley Crue song.
Yeah.
You know, it's all music. These are songs, and how you treat them is what matters. You got to treat them like they're your friends and welcome them into your life and into your house and into your family, and pour them a drink, and they'll stick with you forever. And these songs have stuck with me for decades now, and I think the South by South Dakota album is going to stick with me for the rest of my life, certainly the rest of my career.
Oh, well, I'm going to get a hold of it. I mean, I've got the advanced copy, but I'm going to buy the physical copy because I really dig it. I really liked it, and I'm excited about it. So,
thank you. That means a lot to me, and you know, there's something there, man. Something really fun, special, exciting, entertaining. Yeah. That's what it's all about, and I'm glad you feel it. The response from the media and the fans so far has been overwhelming, and I tell you, that was the toughest decision to make at a time like this, when unemployment is at an all-time high, and so many of our fans and friends are out of work or uncertain about the future. And that was the hardest part of making the decision to go ahead and release the album now, because my job now becomes the salesman. I've got to convince people to fork out their hard-earned money or money they don't even have to buy this music. So what we've done is we've tried to make it as economically feasible as possible. So we're throwing in if you're a subscriber at patreon.com/Ron Keel, for instance, you can get the autographed CD with an autographed poster, guitar pick, sticker, the whole basic fan pack bundle for $14.98.
What?
Which is that's as low as we could bring it. Of course, it's $17.98 if you don't have a membership. The membership is $6.99 a month, and membership is at an all-time high on that Patreon platform where I was telling you at the top of the interview, where I entertain fans online and share exclusive content and experiences and merch discounts. Everybody gets a merch discount. Everybody gets $10 off the fan pack bundle or $3 off the basic bundle. So you're definitely getting your money's worth subscribing at patreon.com/Ron Keel. So $14.98 for the entire basic bundle, 2 autographs. You know, the album packaging is fantastic.
Well, I was going to ask about.
I'm so excited about how this thing looks and feels in your hands, because we've got a 4-panel fold-out poster that comes out of the little pocket in the CD jacket. There's a poster, live shot of the band, and autographed by Ron Keel, of course, and an 8-panel fold-out with some great photographs and live shots. And, just really that packaging and the album cover. Have we talked about that yet? I knew you were going to ask, so let me run with it. Of course, the train thing. Going back to the train motif and the train theme, and the fact that train has been a part of our identity since day one. And Train was going to be the opening track on the album, and we got and all the photos of me and the guys on the album were taken at the train yard in front of these, or on top of these trains. So the train theme is very prominent in the packaging and the marketing. So I'm looking for an album cover, right? It's got to be a train, right? And I'm looking online, doing up all night, searching train images, apocalyptic train, this kind of train, that kind of train. Man, it was all crap, man.
Really?
I found this image that was created for a video game. And I think it was probably 5 years old, and there was no contact info for the artist or anything. And I saw that what ended up being the album cover for South by South Dakota.
Yeah.
This apocalyptic train blowing flames, and it's absolutely killer. So I set about tracking the artist down. Yeah. And that was no easy task. He's a pretty reclusive cat. Sounds like I did track him down. He's in the south of France. His name is Kassor. And he's this eclectic. He's an artist. Go figure.
Yeah.
I tracked him down. Said, dude, I've got this piece of art has got to be my new album cover. I just love this. This is, to me, it's just perfect for this project. And he goes, Ron Keel, I'm a huge fan. I grew up listening to your music. I love what you do. Yes, I would love to be a part of this project.
Way.
Turns out, guys, he's an old Keel fan from back in the day. I tracked him down in the south of France. And now, of course, his art is married to my art because his album cover is on the front of this package, and I'm really proud of that. Going back to the Right to Rock and the Final Frontier, I've been known for having some really
cool,
to me, stellar album cover art.
Yes.
And so I'm really proud to carry on that tradition with this new package and that cover art for South by South Dakota, courtesy of Casor from the south of France.
That's amazing. Were you, and speaking of that, speaking of those two other album covers of The Right to Rock and The Final Frontier, were you disappointed with the self-titled album cover? Then with having all that great artwork and then it was a photo of the band?
Oh, dude, there's a couple of great stories in there, but no, I've never been disappointed. You see that? That's a good-looking band on the cover of that album, man.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of my best hair days ever. Are you kidding me? No, I'm not disappointed at all.
Okay, I'm just curious because you're talking about the artwork and you seem very excited about that. So I'm kind of curious about that cover.
Well, the thing was, we were signed to A&M Records for The Right to Rock, and then when that record exploded, blew up, and sold way more than anybody expected it to sell, they took us to the next highest bidder, which was MCA. And MCA paid a tidy sum of money for Keel for that Final Frontier album in '86. But their policy at the time was just take a picture of the artist and put the logo on. I mean, literally, George Strait, whatever. Yeah. Just take a picture, put the logo, and that's your album cover. They're not going to spend a ton of money on the cover art. That was just their policy at MCA Records, right?
Okay.
So for the Final Frontier, I'd already got wheels turning, and I knew what the album title was going to be. And what I wanted on the cover was the Keel logo turned into a spaceship taken off out of the New York Harbor with the Statue of Liberty and the Twin Towers behind it. So it's a pretty involved piece of art. And this is before they had computer-generated artwork. This was all done by hand, airbrushed by the original artist, John Taylor Dismutes.
Wow.
No computer graphics or anything back then in '86. So he did the album cover, and it's, to me, The Final Frontier is one of the greatest metal and hard rock album covers of all time, including and also with The Right to Rock as well. Those two pieces are, I'm extremely proud of the album covers, if you can't tell. Yeah. But anyway.
No, I have the Final Frontier. I have the vinyl.
Nice. Me too. I got a stack of those myself. And, I knew that MCA was going to explode when they got the bill because it was $15,000, which is a lot of money back then for an album cover.
Yeah.
And I knew they were going to explode. So I go to Gene Simmons, who produced the record.
Yeah.
I said, Gene, man, I need some muscle, dude. You're going to have to come to this meeting with me, and you're going to have to, you're going to have to spread this news on the big wigs at MCA that this is a $15,000 project.
Yeah.
So Gene Simmons from Kiss, who produced the Final Frontier album and the Right to Rock album, huge mentor and friend to me, but he walked in to the office at MCA Records, big round table in this big conference room, and all the big wigs and the heads of the label and all the people in charge, all the people who held the purse string, they were all gathered around this table. Gene walks in with this artwork, the original big, huge piece of art, covered in a cloth, and he puts it on an easel at the end of the table, or at the head of the table. He puts it on an easel, then he unveils it, pulls that cloth off, and there's the Final Frontier album cover. And Gene Simmons says, "This is your album cover? It's going to cost you $15,000. And everybody said, okay. Okay. And they paid the bill.
That was
Gene's muscle was, that's Gene Simmons. And what are you going to say? No?
Yeah, exactly. That was in the book, right?
For me, thank goodness.
That was in the book. Was it not? You told that story.
It was in the book. Yeah, that's one of course, I love telling that story. Can you tell?
Oh, it's an amazing story. That is so good.
There's a lot of great Gene Simmons stories in the book. The the album cover, the day I met Gene. There's a lot of cool stuff in the book. And for people like yourself that have read the book already, I am releasing the sequel this Christmas. And it's going to be a 2-book set. I've re-edited the original book to kind of update it, make some changes, correct some of the stuff that's changed about me and some of the misspellings or typos, because I did that all myself. That was self-edited.
Yeah.
I think there's probably 12 typos in the whole book, and I really,
that's amazing.
Really chaps my ass. But so we're going to fix all that, add some stuff that's changed in my life and my perspective, and then release Volume 2, which is what's happened to me the last 6 years since the book was published, because a lot has happened since we published that thing in 2014. And I guess it's like that with your life story. I mean, don't write it till you're dead, right? Because there's lots more to tell. Probably 10 years from now, I'll have another chapter or 2 to add to the story. But
it's always
it's been one hell of a ride, man. I've enjoyed my life, my career, my dreams have come true, and I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm still doing what I love to do. I'm doing it, in my opinion, at a very high level.
Yeah.
And I take a lot of inspiration from my heroes still. Take guys that were inspiring me as a teenager back in the 70s. Sammy Hagar.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Rob Halford from Judas Priest. These guys are 10 years or more older than I am. They're still out there crushing it.
Yep.
So, they give me inspiration. I said I'm still being inspired by my childhood heroes. Here at the age of 59, I'm still inspired by those guys that fired me up back in 1970-something. Sammy Hagar with that Montrose album. What's that, 73?
Yeah.
Come on, man. And the guy's still killing it. Rob Halford, one of the... I can't say enough good things about Halford, Steven Tyler, and Sammy Hagar. They set the bar pretty high for guys like us that are getting on in years, but still, you got to stay healthy. You got to want it as badly as you ever wanted it. You've got to work hard. You've got to practice. You've got to continue to work on your craft every day.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I'm inspired by those guys, and I'd like to continue this ride for at least another decade or so.
That's awesome. That's so great to hear. I mean, I'm a big fan of all 3 of those singers. So, I mean, I totally anything Sammy does, I'm always paying attention to what he's doing.
Oh, me too, man. Me too.
Because I can't believe,
to me is,
like,
he's the real deal. He's got it all. I mean, as a performer, a vocalist, a songwriter, a frontman, a personality, a celebrity, a businessman. He's the one dude.
Yeah.
Just say he's got it all. He does it all. He's done it all really well at a very high level for a long time. And I'm very thankful that I got to rub elbows with Sammy a few times. Meeting your heroes is always a cool thing.
Yes.
Not always. Not always a cool
well,
thing.
that's true.
But it was cool to meet Sammy.
Yeah.
A few times. I actually got to sing with him in Vegas a few years back. And we got to open for Van Hagar in 1986, July. I got the date here on my wall on the other, just outside the door here.
Yeah.
Come on. The carpet is stuck. I've got a poster on the wall out here. What's the date of that Texas Jam? Come on, you remember that, right? No, kidding.
It was Texas Jam.
Let me see. I've got the poster on the wall. It was 1986. It doesn't have the date. I believe it was July 17th. 1986.
Wow.
And Keel opening for Van Halen with Sammy Hagar fronting the band. What an amazing experience for me. 86,000 people sold out at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, Texas. I mean, this doesn't get any better than that. So, like I said, had some wonderful dreams come true, and I've enjoyed the ride. That's for damn sure.
Oh man, to even say you've got to open for Sammy and Van Halen. That's pretty cool, man. That's very cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you one more question and then I'll let you go. I went on YouTube this morning and I remembered your band that you had after Keel, which I believe was Fair Game. And there's a bunch of stuff on YouTube, a bunch of the tracks, and I had actually never heard. I had heard of the band, but I'd never heard it before. And that was a cool band, man. Like, having you front and then having the female voices singing along with you as well in certain parts, the backgrounds and whatnot. What do you remember from? I mean, that was a big step. Like, to pull that off, to like have you as the male with 4 females. That was just, I think that premise was so cool.
Thank you, and I think it was a fantastic project in so many ways, because it was after Keel in the 80s. I didn't want to just recreate that, and maybe it would have been smart to do that. Even Gene Simmons at the time told me what I should be doing.
Yeah.
But man, I wanted to make history. I wanted to do something that had never been done before, and I'm a huge fan of female rockers. Lita Ford's been a long-time friend of mine.
Yep.
Joe Jett played on the Final Frontier album. Nora Pesh, a friend of mine. I love Vixen. I co-wrote the title track to their second album, Rev It Up. I got to co-write that with the girls in Vixen. So I had an affinity and an admiration and respect for female rockers.
Yeah.
What guy doesn't like female rockers, right?
Oh, exactly. Man.
So I thought I would do something completely different and create a band behind me of all amazing Hollywood female musicians that look great, play great, and certainly some of the best songs and vocals of my career up to that point. And I'm extremely proud of that record, and I'm proud to announce to you and your listeners that that album is a free download at patreon.com/Ron Keel.
Oh, cool.
And
okay.
if you're a member, that's one of the albums that I own, that I wrote, that I own it.
Yeah.
And if I own it, I'm sharing it with my subscribers on Patreon. So you can go to the Patreon page, sign up for $6.99, get a whole month worth of content, and download that album and other albums for absolutely nothing. Part of the deal.
That is very cool. I may have to join them.
Yeah, usually after I do an interview like this, Tyson, usually whoever's interviewing me will go to the site and subscribe. So, we set the bar pretty high. I'm just kidding, man. As I'm promoting my work and my project and all that, that's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Because like I said at the top of the interview, I've been doing that online subscription platform now for several years, long before the pandemic. And I'll be doing it for years to come, long after the pandemic has subsided, because the future is online. Now, I don't know, I think probably a huge chunk of the public is going to realize after this experience, man, I can work from home. I can do good work. A lot of businesses are going to let their employees do more work from home because they're productive. You don't have to drive.
Yeah.
You can still spend time with your family. There's nothing, especially if you love your house and you love your family, like I do. Yeah. My wife and I get along great. We're hanging together fantastic here at home.
That's great.
And I do believe that the future of entertainment, a big part of it anyway, is going to be online. I do hope to get back out there on the concert stage as soon as I possibly can. And I can't wait to sing and play and sweat and do what I do. That's who I am. Everything else that I do, the radio show and the book and the interviews like this and the songwriting and the recording and all the other stuff, I really do it so that I can be that guy, that Ron Keel guy on the stage, being who I was born to be and who I've been all my life. So I do miss it. I do want it in the meantime and even in between times.
Yeah.
The subscribers at Patreon are going to go backstage with the people who are members. They're going to get a discount ticket. They're going to get the meet and greet. They're going to get all that cool stuff at those concert experiences. So being a member isn't just about the online experience. You're going to get cool stuff in the mail. I'm going to send you, you're going to get packages like it's Christmas, every month. You're going to get meet and greets. You're going to get that personal interaction, both online and in real life. So that's why I'm so hyped about that platform. It's a great way to connect with your fans and entertain people.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I remember when the last Keel album came out, and I think I pre-ordered it from, I think it might have been, I think it was from you, and it came, and I believe it was autographed, and there was like a paper attached to it with, I think it introduced the whole thing. I still have that somewhere, but it was just really cool. It was just taking that.
That's what you got to do, man. You got to take care of the people that take care of you. And
that's right.
I go the extra mile for my fans and my friends and my audience. The Keelaholics mean the world to me. So it's only right to take care of them.
Oh, that's amazing. And I must make one more mention. You mentioned because the night, and back in the '80s, I was just young. I was probably like 12 or 13, and I started taking guitar lessons. And my teacher was a little bit older than me, so he was kind of like, he kind of looked like Van Morrison, and he was kind of that, he was kind of into that style of music. And more 70s geared and stuff. So anyways, one day he's like, here, I want you to learn this song. And it was Because the Night. But he was teaching me the original way, right? But I was like, well, this is cool, man. Keel does that song, so I want to learn this song.
Oh, that's cool. And
yeah,
that's part of the deal. It's taking those songs and translating them into another language. That's the first time I've used that analogy, but that's really what it's all about.
It totally
Take
is.
a song, whether it's Because the Night or Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Go to Be Cowboys, and you translate it so that it makes sense to you, and hopefully it'll make sense to the audience and the people you're trying to entertain. That's what it's all about, man. So I appreciate you taking me on this ride through rock and roll history and talking about the good old days with Keel and those classic 80s records, and giving me the opportunity to promote the new Ron Keel band, South by South Dakota. Once again, ronkeel.com. That's your one-stop shop. You can find links to the Patreon, the subscription site. There's all the videos, the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that. One place, ronkeel.com. So I hope you and your listeners will enjoy what we're doing and continue to come along for the ride, and hopefully we'll entertain some folks along the way.
Fantastic. Well, Ron, thank you very much for taking the time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Tyson. A great interview, great questions. I appreciate you more than you know, and I can't wait to hear what we did and help you promote it.
Okay, thank you very much. And you enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.
Okay, thanks, man. You too.
Okay, take care.
Okay. Bye.